Hi and welcome back to Broadsheet Melbourne Around Town. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. I'm Katja Vaktul, Broadsheet's editorial director and the host of this 10-minute guide to Melbourne. De Bruno is a new restaurant in Richmond, an Italian restaurant, and we can never get enough of Italian restaurants. Loxley Parton wrote the story for us. She's a broadsheeter and she's here today to tell us all about it. Welcome, Loxley.
Thank you.
So how did De Bruno first appear on your radar?
I have a few friends that live in Richmond and they walk past it, and I guess any new opening is super exciting. They know how passionate I am about food. So you need to get down there and check it out. And as soon as I did, I was super impressed. It's a massive, massive project and it's got 5 stories and it's awesome.
So the people behind this are 2 brothers and they already own Santoni in Hawthorn, which is a great neighbourhood Italian joint. So what was the inspiration for this one? Why open something else?
I think they just wanted a new project and to really start from something from scratch. It's inspired by their travels that they've had overseas in Milan and a restaurant that's actually called De Bruno as well. So I guess they took inspiration from that and they spent 3 years building and designing it themselves, which was a massive project.
The way you describe it in your story is from the outside, it's quite brutalist and minimalist. You've got a lot of concrete and glass, but then you walk in and there's many nods to kind of classic old school Italian.
Yeah, so it's a really unassuming concrete front at the front. You would walk past it and wouldn't really notice what's going on. And then you walk in and it's a massive space, 10-meter high ceilings. You've got brown leather couches, and then there's just little, as you said, nods in different ways. So they have a private dining room that's inspired by Franco Cozzo and just little...
A Melbourne icon.
Yes, exactly.
Walk us in from the front door, which is, I guess, on Swan Street.
Yes.
And walk us through the building into the different areas, bars, restaurants.
Sure. So we start on the ground floor, I guess. And on that floor, you've got your espresso bar and a beautiful open kitchen with almost a spaceship, massive pizza oven in that space. And that's one of the dining spaces with beautiful brown leather couches. You go up one more floor and you're on the mezzanine. More dining space there, and you've got the private dining room. That's the Franco Cozzo inspired one. Then you're going up again to the first rooftop and the main bar. You've got a dining space there and it's got a outdoor-indoor eating area. So even when it's rainy now, you can sit on the rooftop and enjoy that space. And then you go up one more, the final rooftop, just a drinking area up there, but you've got 360 views of Melbourne, which is amazing. So you can see the G and a beautiful spot, I guess, in summer to have a spritz. And then we've got the basement. So
I was going to say that's only 4 levels.
That's 4. Yes, we can't forget about the basement. So it's a really dark space, neon lit, and it's got a bar down there as well. It's got red velvet couches that you can kind of sink into. And the special thing about this space is it's a completely different menu. So I guess it strays away from that Italian classic menu. Just a signature cheeseburger and oysters and a separate cocktail menu.
That burger looks so good.
So good.
So the basement level has almost its own kind of concept and atmosphere going on. So on the other 4 levels, the menu is the same throughout.
Yes, so it's an Italian-inspired menu. They kind of have a no-fuss approach, just using local seasonal ingredients and doing Italian classics well. So you've got your classic margherita. They do other things like a gamberi with fresh prawns and parsley and chili. They make house-made gnocchi, which I tried, and it's really pillowing like clouds. It's amazing.
And then a tiramisu for dessert, because if we're doing classic Italian, one must have a tiramisu on the menu.
The only way to finish it off.
Drinks?
Drinks, yes. They've got a beautiful cocktail menu. They've got a separate martini menu with 7 different martinis to choose from.
You did mention in your story that the way you will be enjoying this place is having or sipping a martini on one of the rooftops.
Yes.
And kind of looking over at the G and over to the city. It's open Tuesday until Sunday from midday till 10 p.m, except for the basement bar, which is open till midnight.
Open till late.
Thanks, Lox.
Thank you.
Sammy Prowse and her husband Andrew opened Universal Practice in Fitzroy in 2016. She is a physio to Hawthorn Football Club, and her Universal Practice is about to launch a really exciting new service, and she's here today to talk with us about it. Welcome, Sammy.
Thanks, Katja. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into the virtual physiotherapy practice, tell us what Universal Practice is all about.
So universal practice is primarily a physiotherapy practice. So we're rooted, grounded in science. Everything we do is backed by science, delivered by physios. But I guess what makes us different is that we take quite a holistic approach to health, wellbeing and performance. We can see people from injured and pain right through to wellbeing and performance. We have patients that have high clinical needs that come into the studio with injury, pain, chronic conditions. But then at the same time, we have elite athletes or people recovering from babies or people that are just generally looking to look after themselves.
That's a really good segue to what we're here to talk about, which is your new virtual physiotherapy practice.
Yes.
Can you tell us about this? Because it sounds, I don't want people to think it's telehealth.
Yeah.
It is so much more than that.
Our virtual practice is a complete physiotherapy practice virtually online. So yes, it includes online physiotherapy appointments, but we've got proprietary body mapping technology, we've got logging and tracking, we've got all of the exercises, the education, anything that you could ever need delivered in a virtual practice world.
Where did the idea come from and how long has it taken to develop? You said you've developed your own technology for this, so I imagine this was not something that occurred overnight.
We know at Universal Practice in our studios that we deliver quality healthcare, but we also know that there's people all around Australia suffering from musculoskeletal conditions, and it's not because we don't know what to do as a healthcare system. We know inherently how to diagnose, what we need to provide people with, how people can recover. So there's a disconnect somewhere. And, is it access? Is it understanding and education? Is it time? Is it affordability? Is it location? I mean, there's lots of different reasons. And it was really around that. I mean, our vision is to deliver quality and accessible healthcare to all Australians so we can positively shift health outcomes of our whole country. So we were aware of this disconnect, and it really came from a place of wanting to help people. But then at the same time, it's innovative and it's exciting. And I think that's been integral to Universal Practice's DNA in that we've always evolved as a company. And it's not just about staying the same, and science doesn't stay the same. Science is evolving all the time. So it makes sense that if you're in a science-based company that you are moving forward. And there's been a lot of development in health tech offshore, predominantly in the USA and the UK, but, Australia hasn't quite yet, championed that area. And that's really what we're looking to do.
So the body mapping technology you've discussed, which is clearly integral to people getting involved in this virtual practice, was that built with someone here? Was that an offshore technology that you had to bring into the company?
There is body mapping technology, not the same as ours, that does exist across the globe. The thing that's really different about ours and, that makes ours proprietary is that it's real time and it's used in an assessment and diagnosis space. So essentially what you do is you just use your camera on your phone or your laptop, whatever device you have. The physiotherapist obviously at the other end of that consult. And we can track up to 37 points on the human body. So it's intelligent technology. So you don't have to do anything as such. The physio turns it on, and it's really cool from the patient perspective because you can sort of see your body light up, like there's a dot on your head, your shoulders, down your spine. And then as you move in real time, the technology tracks where you are. And it doesn't just track where you are, it measures it. And that's the diagnosis angle so that we can measure, for example, the range of motion at your lower back, your lumbar spine, or your shoulder. And so this provides accuracy in diagnosis, but this is then where you start to think, well, this is actually exceeding what we're doing in rooms. And I can say that because I am a physio that does in-rooms treatment as well. In rooms, we bring out a thing called a goniometer, which you may or may not have seen. It's a very archaic, old sort of fashioned piece of physio equipment that people don't even really bring out, to be honest. So when we're looking at the virtual landscape, the technology is only going to improve from here. And this is just one way that we're starting to, I guess, evolve the ways in which we can look after people. And this actually is more accurate than going into the clinic. And it makes it measurable. So you have a number and, that's useful because, for assessment and diagnosis, but then for, the next time that you come in, have you improved? Where are you at? And that's really empowering as a client or a patient as well to sort of be able to see your results unfolding before your eyes. So it's for the physio and it's for the patient, but then also that becomes data in a really useful way for us because we can start to then say, well, we know that, 10 people or, 100 or 1,000 people that went through our program achieved these results. So then we start to be able to actually contribute to science rather than just follow. So it becomes a really exciting prospect in, I guess, the healthcare systems across Australia and the way in which we deliver evidence-based medicine.
what's involved in kind of signing up? Do you just go to the website, sign up and get an appointment, or is there a range of things? It's kind of a step by step.
Yes, you do go to the website to start. Everyone starts with an online health assessment. And so this is seamless and easy for the patient or the client to go through. But what we've done is we've combined sort of decades of clinical experience and developed an algorithm. So what we're doing is we're asking you the questions we really need to know clinically about you to match a solution that is best going to help. These things start to build a clinical picture of you, and it's an assessment technique in itself. But essentially what we're doing with that information is then working out, okay, with Katja, we know X, Y, Z about her. What is the best solution we can provide her with? And that's not where it finishes. That's just then, at the end of this health report, you receive it's like a beautifully designed health assessment of where you're at. And the important thing there as well is it's about empowering and educating you. We want people to want to be an active player in their own health. So, you can download that report for yourself. You can show it to your doctor. You can just have it on file. So that's the first step. You get your health report and then we provide you with solutions. You can override that and choose something else. But essentially we say, look, you might be best as an online physiotherapy appointment to start, or perhaps you can enter straight into our lower back rehabilitation stream. If your pain was not so bad, so say it was like 1 or 2 out of 10 when you sort of went for a run, then you might be best in the maintenance or strength-based stream. So there's something for everyone.
So you get the report and then Universal Practice would match you with a physio who does exist in real life.
Yeah.
You've built up a network of physios now around Australia, everywhere from the cities, but also to regional centres. And also you can access a lot of your kind of online programs. So there's a practice and then you get kind of filtered into these different parts of Universal Practice online that will help you improve, maintain, heal.
And that's right. So there is real physios. And I think that's the thing that it's important to highlight. So the technology is an enabler to what we're doing. So there's a lot that we've built out in terms of behavioural science and in terms of clinical pathways. Obviously, being able to film, content around education and exercise, absolutely. But then there's always going to be a need at some point for a person, a physio and a qualified professional. For some people, for not all. So a really exciting part of what we've done is we've sort of, searched the nation for our founding team of physios, and the uptake has been just amazing. I mean, you always hope with these things, that you're on the money in terms of, we think there's a need out there. I think physios will be really interested in working virtually because currently the way the physio profession is you really do have to go to work, which is not the case for most professions these days. And so there's a big dropout rate and there's a lack of flexibility. So we've got literally physios from Byron to Perth to Alice Springs, everywhere in Australia, which I just think builds a really great community of physios. And what's great is we can match people clinically. So if you have lower back pain, we can match you with a physio that is experienced and expert in lower back pain.
What's the response for those who would be worried that you kind of need someone to be hands-on to make sure you're not doing a stretch in the incorrect way?
Yes, there's a small percentage of conditions that will require hands-on, but the best tools we have in our toolkit as physiotherapists are exercise and education. And when you're looking at healing and recovery and strengthening, it's active. It's not passive. So you actually have to do something. There's something that happens when we heal. So, for example, when you have pain, your deep stabilizing muscles switch off and your outer muscles turn on. And that's why we get tight and often feel worse. So quality rehabilitation or quality healing is about going back and explaining to the patient that's what's going on, providing them with the support, advice, education, and then addressing stability, releasing the tight muscles, which can be done with stretching or, spiky ball release, and then building that into a whole body strengthening program that's appropriate for that person. So this is exciting because this is how we treat patients at Universal Practice in our clinic. There's a myth or a perception out there that you have to have your hands on someone to heal them. That is not the case. And so we're actually just doing what we already do, but taking it to a virtual market. And so I'm excited to actually educate and empower, Australia in saying that healing's not passive. It's available and accessible, and everyone deserves to heal.
And it doesn't stop, which I've been guilty of in the past, is I'll go to my physio session and say, well, I did that. So now, even though I'm given a page of exercises to do at home, I've been pretty crappy at continuing that at home. So I guess what the virtual practice is encouraging as well is that idea that you actually have to work outside of that session with the physio. Like, it will only improve if you continue to do those stretches at home. So where can people find it at the Universal Practice website?
So our website's www.virtual.universalpractice.com.au.
Thanks so much for coming in, Sammy.
Thanks for having us, Katja.
That's all we've got time for today. As always, you can stay up to date at any time, any place at broadsheet.com.au or on Instagram at broadsheet_Melb. I'll see you again next week.